You know that moment, the annual family dinner, and someone leans in. So, what is it you actually do? It always
Oh,
happens.
yeah, it lands like a lead balloon sometimes.
Yeah,
You try to
that's right.
explain.
You say, I'm in marketing, and next thing you know, they're asking if you personally build the widgets.
Exactly. Or you say, I optimize workflows, and you can just see them picturing you moving digital Post-it notes around all day.
And okay, let's be honest. When we say it's hard to explain, sometimes that's code for, I'm not 100% sure myself.
Well, it's a real thing, isn't it? This gap between modern jobs, especially tech or knowledge work, and, how people outside that specific bubble understand work.
Yeah, historically, work meant making something tangible. Farming, building.
You could point to it. Yeah. So much is abstract. Strategy, data, systems.
Yeah.
It's harder to just, well, point. Explaining your Tuesday afternoon gets complicated.
Okay, so that's our mission for this deep dive. We want to give you the tools, maybe like a translator's guide for your job.
Yeah. So you can walk away from this feeling, a bit more equipped, confident even,
Yeah.
able to explain what you do without getting that blank stare.
We want it to actually land, maybe even spark some genuine understanding. We've got some specific things we want you to take away.
Definitely. We're going to break down what we're calling the 3 levels of job descriptions. It's kind of a spectrum from super vague,
Uh-huh.
that sort of impressive sounding jargon,
Oh, I know that level.
right? And then finally to something that's like, okay, I swear this is actually a real job.
And we've got to have the techtogramma glossary, those key translations, like explaining cloud computing.
Ah, yes, the classic,
Yeah.
which basically boils down to the internet, but, fancy or maybe more interconnected, something like that.
We also need to touch on why I work remotely can sometimes translate to I nap a lot and check emails occasionally for maybe older generations.
That perception gap is huge. It comes from different lived experiences of what work looks like. We'll dig into that.
Cool. So stick around. We're going to unpack some really practical stuff for navigating these conversations.
Right, let's get into it. These 3 levels of job descriptions. It's fascinating how we instinctively shift gears depending on who we're talking to.
Right, totally. And maybe also depending on how much coffee we've had and how clearly we understand what we did all day.
Ah, true. So level 1 is what you called vague but safe. This is your go-to for avoiding a deep interrogation.
Your conversational smokescreen, maybe? When you just need something quick and easy for that second cousin you see once a year.
Precisely.
Eh.
And even these vague terms have baked-in meanings, or at least assumptions, like I'm in consulting.
Sounds important. Knowledgeable.
Right. But the source material we looked at had this hilarious translation, I send emails and wear blazers sometimes.
Okay, that feels uncomfortably accurate for some situations. What about I do operations?
I got translated down to I know where the stapler is, which, it's actually pretty critical sometimes.
It's the unsung hero. It's finding common ground, even if it's a bit absurd. Okay, so that's level 1. What's level 2?
Level 2 is impressive sounding nonsense. This is where the corporate speak really kicks in. The buzzwords multiply.
Ah, the land of jargon. Stuff that sounds very significant inside the office bubble, but outside. Blank stares.
Exactly. And it kind of serves 2 masters, doesn't it? Internally, it's like a secret handshake. Shows you belong. Externally,
It makes you sound busy and important, even if you were just in another meeting.
pretty much. Think about I leverage cross-functional synergies. It sounds very strategic, very high
What
level.
that really means.
I sit in meetings with other departments. Yeah, one sounds like MBA stuff. The other sounds like, well, Tuesday.
And how about eye on the pipeline? That sounds crucial, like you're controlling the flow of gold or something.
It does. But the reality, as our source cheekily pointed out, might just be I forward Slack messages.
Ouch. But true, it's that gap between the fancy language and the actual keyboard tapping reality that causes the confusion.
It really is. Which perfectly leads us to level 3. I swear this is real. This is where you try to explain the specifics.
And often deploy acronyms and technical terms that might as well be another language.
Oh, absolutely. Trying to explain IUX/UI, the B2B SaaS dashboard.
Forget it. Especially if you're talking to someone whose biggest tech win this week was getting their smart TV remote to work.
Right. The translation we found was, I make buttons blue for money. It's obviously a massive oversimplification, but
But it grounds it. It's an action, a purpose. People get making buttons blue. They don't necessarily get optimizing user journeys in a software as a service context.
precisely. Or I do Agile Scrum Mastery.
Still sounds like some kind of contact sport involving programming.
Doesn't it? The simplified version. I say sprint instead of week. Again, it just highlights one tangible difference without needing a lecture on agile frameworks.
There was that great listener story too, right? About the KPIs.
Oh, yeah. Someone said they optimized KPIs, and their mother was convinced they worked for the CIA.
See? That's it perfectly. Jargon is dangerous territory. It can lead anywhere.
Wildly inaccurate, sometimes hilarious assumptions. Okay, so we have these levels. How do we actually use them effectively? How do we bridge the gap?
This is where we need that dictionary, the Techtogramma Dictionary. It's about finding relatable anchors, simple ways in.
The key is definitely pulling out the core idea, the essence, and saying it in plain English. Like our old friend, cloud computing.
Sounds mystical, advanced, nebulous even.
But boils down to the internet, but fancy. Or maybe using computers somewhere else through the internet. It gets the core idea across without needing to talk about server farms.
I really like the one for stakeholder alignment.
Yes. A classic piece of corporate speak.
The translation, making sure Karen in accounting doesn't yell.
It's just so. Universally understood if you've ever worked anywhere with more than 3 people. It nails the human element of navigating different departments and personalities.
Totally. And instead of saying you're doing a deep dive on something,
Which sounds very serious and academic.
you could just say, yeah, I'm reading a Wikipedia page at 3 p.m. Bit of self-deprecation makes it less intimidating.
Exactly. Demystifies it. Now, there was also that fantastic pro tip from the sources.
Oh, yeah, the ultimate fallback.
When you're cornered, when the jargon isn't working, when you just want the questions to stop,
Compared to farming,
compared to farming, just drop something like, well, we're planting seeds for Q4.
it sounds so wholesome, so grounded, and so wonderfully, beautifully vague.
Doesn't it? Apparently, it just shuts down follow-up questions.
Yeah.
Everyone understands farming on some basic level, planting, growing, harvesting. It works.
It's genius, really, a verbal escape hatch. Okay, but sometimes you can't escape. You have to face the music. The defensive family Q&A.
Brace yourself. We've all been there, that slightly skeptical tone. So do you have a real job or do you just type all day?
Oof, that one stings. The comeback.
It's like a factory, but for emails.
Ah, I like that.
Yeah.
Connects to the old model of production, but highlights the sheer volume of digital stuff we handle.
Right. Then there's the dreaded, so when are you getting a promotion?
Always awkward. Feels like pressure.
The suggested deflection. Corporate ladders move at the speed of government bureaucracy.
Nice. Adds a touch of humor, a dash of relatable frustration, kicks the can down the road.
And the absolute classic, the moment they find out you work with computers. Oh, can you fix my printer?
Happens every single time. The line to draw here.
A firm but friendly. I work in digital, not magic.
Perfect. Sets a boundary, reminds them your skills are specific, hopefully without offending Aunt Mildred.
And speaking of avoiding printer duty, there was that clever listener hack someone shared.
Right, the AI one.
Yeah. If you really want to stop the tech support requests and maybe sound a bit futuristic, just say, I train AI models.
Nobody asks the robot trainer to fix the paper jam. Plus, it sounds vaguely intimidating, stops the conversation cold.
Pretty effective, apparently. So, okay, let's just quickly run through the toolkit again. Got it. Recap time. You've got your 3 levels. Vague, impressive nonsense used carefully. And I swear it's real. Tailor it to your audience.
Then wield the Techtogramma Dictionary. Translate the jargon into simple, relatable terms. Remember, cloud is fancy internet.
Don't forget the ultimate escape. The pro-tip farming metaphors. Planting seeds for Q4. Works every time.
Arm yourself with those defensive Q&A replies for the common attacks. Factory for emails, speed of bureaucracy, digital, not magic.
And keep the listener hack in your back pocket. I train AI models. Your secret weapon against printer problems.
Okay, now to make sure this all sinks in, we have a little challenge for you, our listeners. We're calling it Job Description Charades.
Fun. Okay, challenge number 1.
Explain your job using only farming metaphors. No other words allowed. Think like our source suggested. I heard data sheep. Get creative.
I like it. Okay, challenge 2.
Invent a corporate buzzword. Something that sounds completely plausible, maybe even impressive, but actually just means watching YouTube videos at work. The example was competitive content analysis. We know you can top that. Let's hear your best jargon inventions.
And finally, challenge number 3. Share the weirdest, wildest, most out there assumption someone has ever made about what you do for a living.
Like the listener whose aunt thought they hacked the stock market because they worked in finance tech or something. We want those funny stories.
Absolutely. So there you have it, your guide to navigating the treacherous waters of explaining your job.
Go forth. Describe what you do with confidence, or at least with the confidence of someone who mostly understands it themselves. And hey, join us next time.
Yeah, next time we're tackling something equally crucial. How to survive a town hall when you are definitely just checking your phone.
Oh, that's going to be a good one. See you then.